My name is Ilana Hassan. I'm a coach and Neurographica instructor. For those who don't know me yet, and there are a few new people who are joining my page, and I thank all of the people who follow me and who work with me. So what do I do here? As a coach and Neurographic instructor, obviously I combine the two tools and the two instruments together, and what I have eventually is coaching through visual method. So coaching to me is a conversation. To have a conversation, provide a space for listening, a space for transformation. So that's what I do with clients, one-on-one clients. With groups, I try to emulate exactly the same, is provide a space for transformation, space for listening, and but only I use it through a visual language, visual conversation. And Neurographica, it's not just a drawing, it's not just an art method, but it's also a psychological method, especially in coaching. It works for transformation. So I've been sharing a few Neurographica workshops in the past months or so. I'll continue doing that, and this page is for specifically to show, give people some value, show how you can do it yourself and learn the methodology. And that's where my passion is the visual language that you could express in a non-linear, non-verbal way. So geometry is a way to talk to geometric alphabet language is a way to talk to our subconscious. And there are other ways. This is not the only way. So there are other ways, such as dance, special ways of dancing, for instance, or maybe bodily techniques like breathing. Symbols, using symbols and symbolism also is one of them. Dreams is another one. So there are 7 knowns that specialists work with, the accessing the subconscious and transforming some of the patterns that we no longer want. So my way is a visual method called Neurographica, and it's efficient, effective, and it's easy to master it for yourself. So one of my goals of these free workshops is to transmit this method and teach people that they can use it for themselves as self-coaching, if you like. And then what that does is it does a lot of things. One of the things, because it's an art-based method, so one of the things is engages you in activity that calms you and comes through basically when you draw, your brain waves shift from this nervousness or whatever activity like thinking, planning, and strategizing into this relaxed, more meditative state. So right there is already a benefit of engaging with arts. Secondly, it could be using your hand to draw something, so it engages with micromotoric function, which directly connects to our brain, for instance, and that helps also with a lot of functions. And thirdly is specific modeling tools. So what we're modeling, really, we're modeling our view to anything, view to our situations, specific situations, to our character traits or beliefs and things like that, things that we want to address and work on. So today's topic is we're working on our goals and dreams and plans for the year. So that's January is dedicated for that, and I'm continuing with this theme. So we set our goals, we drew the year plan, and now I'm saying, so what's stopping you from getting all those goals? What's stopping you from achieving your goals? And one of the things is there's these internal things that maybe some patterns, maybe some stuckness or some sort of like negativity, maybe beliefs, or maybe even values. Sometimes we have values and it can go against. For example, one of mine is that I really value well-being. I'm very passionate about quality of life and supporting supporting people's well-being and quality of life. So and what that does to me, that it's wonderful from one perspective, but on the other hand, when I'm building my business, I notice that for me it's like, oh, I can't charge for this, oh, I can't charge this price, oh, I can't have this, because like to me that my value is capping my, directly telling me that, oh, if you take money from people, you directly directly taking away from their well-being. And it's interesting to observe, but through work like that, through drawings and the way it comes out, like things you could see that you don't always notice just by thinking about it. So visual is a powerful method, and specifically when it's structured, and you will see today, when it's structured specifically, you will be able to draw a lot of insights and get some benefits that don't always manifest immediately. You may not notice immediately, as in oh, now I have a plan, now I know exactly what to do, but it comes through in a short period of time as you notice that you changed how you react to something, or something becomes more easily available for you that wasn't before. So it, in one hand, is subtle, but on the other hand, when we do things like that, we move some energies, some emotions that are stuck somewhere. And now that I'm talking, I'd like to move a camera to show you my desktop. There you go. And by the way, good evening, and thank you for those who joined. You can say hello to me so that we can, I'll be able to, hold on a second, I'm checking how to set the, so that I could see your comments. But anyway, there you go. Just a second. So prepare a page of one piece of paper, and markers or colored paper if you can. Colored pencils, markers. I'll be using thick markers so that you can see what I'm drawing. But for okay, good. So one of the things I wanted to show you here, because I'm talking about this Neurographica, and I'm planning to do like a proper training maybe in February. I'm thinking, so that I could teach this method more thoroughly. But for now, what I'd like you to really understand here is that you know how we say culture and nature. So we're dealing with two types of lines that we draw. So culture is something, say, geometric, and it's straight lines. So it's cultured way of doing. So we learn, and it's a stereotypical drawing. So straight lines, and you can repeat them, you can learn them, and you can reproduce them. So these are straight, repeatable, stereotypical lines, something that we do. So we call this culture. Now nature, and it's all good, both are good, both have their own functions. I'm just drawing a distinction here so that you understand. What I mean by nature I mean these Neurographica lines that I'm teaching and that we draw. And those are very unique, organic, and different, and unique to everybody. Everybody has its own signature, if you like. And when we apply a little bit of resistance, so this is conscious, this is not completely intuitive, it's not like we're not drawing with closed eyes and, you know, just relaxing and letting the hand go. No, this is the opposite from that. So we actually drawing a very conscious line. We're feeling every move we make. We connect it with every move we make in a line. And we're applying a little bit of resistance. So we're not letting it slide completely free where it wants to go. But we're resisting and consciously applying a little bit of a change, you know. If my hand is taking me one direction, I'm pivoting a little bit somewhere else. And what that does, it creates this, it shifts our mindset from stereotypical default way of doing things into a little bit of a different, unique, a novel pattern. And when you do that, you should notice a slight sensation in your body reaction, because when you start doing something that is not default, is not automatic, it's not like, oh, I don't need to think about it, then you react, your system reacts, and that should feel something in the body, because our body, if you start noticing and paying attention and draw awareness, your body is can tell you a lot. And so one of the indicators we're using is the body sensations, and I'll be asking in the course of the drawing, you know, what are you aware of, how is your body, how are you feeling, any sensations and things like that. So so this is the unique Neurographica line. It's I call it nature, but because we coming back to nature, to ourselves, that's our inner nature that we're going for. So we communicating with our subconscious, with ourselves, with our heart, if you like. So that's so much. And then also, as you notice that I'm doing these connecting the lines together. You can call them bonding, joining, connecting, rounding the corner. So basically we round anything that is sharp, that is visible as a sharp corner. And any intersection of lines is considered as a sharp corner, as you can see. And that has a function that I'll explain a little bit later. So if you want to keep drawing, if you want to draw with me, I'm gonna show you this. I'm gonna show you this model, this little algorithm that I have, and that specifically addresses the idea of releasing unwanted barriers or anything that's preventing us from reaching our goals. So in other words, transforming something that we no longer need, something that's stopping us from having what we want, because at some point it got registered as something maybe threatening or unsafe. But at this point, when we have new goals and new dreams that we want to have and achieve, we want to remove those formed patterns that are on the way. Okay. So I just cut the paper in half so that I have now a smaller piece of paper, and that will help us. So what I'd like to propose is, first, let's write the date. Today is the 22nd of January, and we always do that so that you remember what you drew today. Secondly, we write the topic. So today we're gonna look at one specific goal or dream or wish that you have. Pick one specific thing, project, whatever it is for you, or maybe it's some sort of a internal, negative emotion or some experience that you want to transform. So when I say transform, like when I say release, it's not this, it's basically equals as transform, because when we want to release something, get rid of something, it's equals transformation. And transformation is what we're really doing here, because if you want to let go of something, where does it go? It doesn't go anywhere. It's somewhere still, and it only goes through transformation to become something else. So if we work with transformation, we draw something that for us occurs this way, and then we transform it, something that we see is completely different. So let's pick something that we want to transform, and it could be, as I said, any emotion or any negative belief or something like that that's relevant for one of your goals or wishes or dreams. I'm writing my project. And let's write a couple of words couple of words that you can think of right now in association with your topic. And I know that the view is flipped, but on Facebook I haven't figured out if it's even possible to adjust the camera so that it's not showing flipped right to left. Okay, so sorry about that. So I'm just writing a few things that that I want to bring to the surface of my mind, and then I'm flipping to the clean side of the page. And now I'm going to show you a technique of release technique, how it looks on paper. So first I'll ask you to draw a triangle, an equal-sided triangle. Try as much as you like. And so this triangle, say, represents the topic. Let's say it's a dream or a goal. It represents the subject of your drawing today. And you see, it's a straight line, geometric shape. So it represents something that we created, something that you created in your imagination, in your mind, something that you planned, and it's not something unknown to you. So that's why it's a geometric triangle. And the next what we're gonna do is the release in the shape of chaotic lines. So you can close your eyes for a minute and imagine any emotion, any feeling that comes up, and connect with your body and just really sense what's present. Specifically any frustration, any negativity, any fear that's present when you think of that project that you have in mind. And when you get present to that, take a deep breath. And with the exhale, like, so exhale with and that's important also. With the sound, release this on inside of your triangle. And now we have something concrete, something tangible to work with, because we released our emotion on paper, and because we named it, it's now we have a connection. Our visual connection is actually meaningful. So you see these chaotic lines. Now we're going to transform those lines, and that's what we're going to do. So we use Neurographica line, which is, as I said, this unique wavy line. And we absorb those straight chaotic lines into Neurographica lines, as you could see, like so. And then extend them outside of the triangle. We're just going to now go across the border here. Okay? So do that, and this is an important step because we're creating this visual illusion of transformation. And believe it or not, it really works for your mind in a way that your mind doesn't really distinguish between the reality and the imagination. And in this case, it's imagination on paper. So it's even better because your eye actually can see it. And what your eye can see, your brain actually believes that it's real. And there you go, I'm now in the flow. I started doing these Neurographica lines, and I could feel that my brain waves are changing. And Neurographica drawing does that to you. It changes your brain waves to, let's say, from beta to alpha, if you're familiar with these concepts. When you meditate, that's what you do. Your brain calms down, and alpha brain waves activates, and you feel relaxation. So engage with me in this activity of rounding rounding all the corners after you've done the line, extending the lines over all of these. So you see, like, all of the original lines have been covered by these wavy Neurographica lines. So what we're doing is that we transform the stereotypical way of thinking and being in relation to this specific topic. So we really transforming something that we're doing automatically and we don't even notice anymore. And we're adding something new, adding new patterns. And the rounding is really important because that has a specific meaning in this technique. And the meaning for rounding is such that it rounds any of these resistances, the old ways of being. And when we're doing that, our ego resists a lot, because ego doesn't like to change anything, because that's the function of ego, is create those patterns of behavior and have them because they're useful, absolutely useful for us. We need them. But then we come to a point where we say, you know, I created some patterns at some point for, in some situation, but now I want to change. I want to create a different situation, different patterns. And ego says, no, 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 I don't like that. So by rounding and giving this illusion of safety, illusion of that situation that we want is actually safe and it's okay, it's harmonious, and we can actually have it. I feel like the heat wave, in a good way. I feel like some sort of a warm flow going along my spine is wonderful. So yeah, so rounding is really important, and please don't resist, because now it's a point where, oh, it's like, oh, it's okay, I don't need it. And it's okay if you don't do it, that's okay too. It's just the result is not going to be the same. Okay, so since we have a small piece of paper and very few lines to work with, it's much faster than doing a full size paper. And what I'm doing now, I'm adding a few more lines outside of the triangle. And you can see now how the triangle really changed its shape. And completely changed its pattern. And notice your reaction when you think of the things that you want to achieve when you're planning for yourself. And when you look at this drawing, you have a different reaction, for instance, than you had before. And notice what shifted, what changed in your sensations, your emotions, and your perception of that situation. And if you're not used to working with your awareness, it takes time. But it's really worth trying. Because it really pays off and results are phenomenal. And I know from hundreds of people that I've come across using this method, and myself personally. So now that we have a few more lines around, the next step is let's find circles. We always work with circles. Circle is the most harmonious, the most perfect, ideal, safe space for us. So circles here will be our added resources. So anywhere that you see beginning of a circle, a line that reminds you of a circle, your eye needs to see it. Okay, so we basically now drawing from a space, like now I don't see any circles, but then your eye needs to find specific resources from the from this space of lines. And if you find those circles, make sure that they're not going to be an empty circle. So we need at least a couple of lines, because empty circle is unrealized potential. So it's a potential resource, but it's not activated. So a line really is a good thing to activate that specific circle, that specific resource. So I'm talking a lot of this kind of strange language. So this is a lot of metaphor involved in what I'm explaining here, like shapes and circles and all of these things, resources. Obviously, these are a lot of those are metaphoric kind of expressions. And but metaphor is a really powerful tool that we can engage with. And yeah, and so these geometric figures, they're all metaphors for something. So it could be anything. So this little figure could be a person that I'm looking for to help me with specific thing in my project. This could be specific information that I'm looking for to help me in the project. And see what resources you can find for yourself. So if you will be watching this in recording, I would appreciate if you leave a comment and share your experience if you do this exercise. So this algorithm that I'm sharing is kind of a special, because it's not something I've learned from somebody at school necessarily, but I'm using a lot of knowledge integrated with Neurographica that is from different teachings and different resources that I've studied for a long time, that I'll be hopefully sharing more and more. So my idea and my goal is to give like free workshops maybe once a week, and that is not too demanding on my schedule situation. So I'd like to share this wonderful resource that I've learned and adapted. It's not because I love to draw. Honestly, before this, I didn't like drawing. I didn't really engage in drawing as such. So I'm not doing it for the sake of drawing because I want to be an artist, not at all. That's not my goal. I know a lot of people who use this for the sake of becoming an artist, and so this is wonderful. And if that's your goal, that's great too. But for me, this is really a tool to get things done, to get things in life that all my ambitions, realize my potential, realize my goals and things like that. It's really a technology that works, that I know of, and it's accessible, especially accessible to use for yourself. So you can learn this technique and use in multiple different ways for yourself without somebody's guidance, without somebody telling you what to do. And that's one of the goals that I have, is to pass this on, teach and train people so that they're not dependent on someone else to always, teach them or tell them, or, even if a coach is a wonderful resource to have, but then, how much of coaching you can have ongoingly. So if you learn something that really works, and with verbal techniques, it's much harder to coach yourself, because imagine you ask yourself a question and then you have to answer. It's kind of a little bit psychedelic, if you like. But with this technique, because when you draw, you engage with your body and things like that. So I could say, I can have a dialogue with my drawing. And through this dialogue, I'm discovering something new. In a verbal technology, it's hard to discover something new, because you the one who's asking a question, you the one who's giving the answer. But here I can ask myself, I don't know, I'm drawing, releasing something, and I could see something now, it's changing, transforming, and I can see something different now, I can read. So I'm getting answers based on the things that I draw. So that's easier to have a dialogue with yourself, and that's really a fantastic way of accessing your dialogue with yourself and understanding yourself better. So what I'm doing now, I'm adding color, and color is another layer to this technique, is that we're working with graphic. and then we add in color. And now that when you start adding color, you will see a shift in energy. If you you know, if your awareness is engaged, you will see a shift in energy, because when we start working with color, different functions will start getting engaged. And color is really energy, so we're creating a different patterns, different energy here. And we also creating new archetypes, new stereotypes, if you like, or models of behavior and thinking. And you know, when I said that after doing this, you'll notice how something shifted, something changed, and you will notice how your reactions to something might shift and change. And this the color step of coloring is a function that we want here. So what I'm doing with color, you see, I'm creating like new shapes. So I'm doing large shapes with the same color. So it's not like one little circle here, a little circle there. No, the color needs to have like movement. It's energy. So color needs to show that movement on your page. So that's what we here creating. So, but here you also engage with your intuitive powers, if you like. So you pick your colors that you like. There's no specific order here that, oh, this color means this. Yeah, we can find meanings to color. However, each meaning is so individual and unique. So let's say red means something for one person and something else for different other person. So I'm not really a fan of necessarily assigning, oh, this means this or this means that. I like for a person to decide what it means for you and go with that. And it may change, you know, today red means this for you, tomorrow something else. So really you have to feel yourself how you feel with those colors. And so now I'm creating see different patterns. So I'm adding a new pattern, and my eye follows obviously what I'm doing. And when my eye follows what I'm doing, it gets a reaction in my emotions, in my brain, you know. So the reaction is definitely, even if you're not aware, the reaction is definitely there. So you're definitely reacting what's going on the paper. And because we assigned a meaning to what we're doing, so the change, that reaction, change of reaction is happening in the set of neurons that are associated with that specific topic of that you chose to draw today. So that's basically the magic of this technology. If you followed what I was saying, and as I said, I teach a full course, a training course on that, and it's really fascinating to learn this for yourself, so that you could really solve a lot, like resolve, like have it as a tool to help you with managing not just your emotions, but also planning and managing a lot of the processes, internal processes and projections, for instance. So if you watch this or will be watching and recording, thank you very much. Thank you for coming. Thank you for supporting. Would love to hear from you, your comments. You can leave some white spaces. That's totally okay. And I'll leave a few white spaces. But now let's finish this off by adding a few significant lines. So those significant lines are, I call them the integration lines, integration with higher self. So anything that we want, and one of the things about Neurographic also is that it's a really very ecological method, because it's always we're trying to align with our higher self, with our higher purpose. So to visually show that we're aligning this with our highest purpose, higher selves, we draw these like integration lines. So those are lines, like pick any of the lines here, and And what we're doing is like we will go over a few times so they are much more expressed, a bit thicker, a bit more prominent. So they see they have different different thickness, a little bit more prominent, as you could see. And when you do that, you also you should, if you know, you should feel different energy here when you do these lines, because they have different, they carry different message, different function. And let's find another one. I'll add maybe 2. You can add 2 or 3. So there you go. So I added. And then the next step is that we need to fixate or, you know, show a dominant figure. Like, what is the dominant figure? What is the decision figure? What's the dominant figure here? Because we have a lot of different shapes, but we need one that is more the power figure, as I say. And so in this situation is the triangle, because that was the main figure of this drawing. So we start, and triangle also associates with our goals, with some ambitions. So triangle is really a good good shape to highlight here. So here you go. So I finished my drawing, and that's what it looks like. And let